Who commits period-themed murders. Put this on hold at my library when I was writing my notes because that's how badly I wanted to pick this up. And I've been waiting months for this one to come out. This has all the makings of a really great book. I'm so excited for this one. Hey, hi, hello. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, my name's Alicia, and in today's video, we're gonna talk about 21 new books that are releasing this summer. I am so excited to talk about these books with you. Some of these books I have been anticipating since last year. I'm so excited for some of these to come out. This is gonna cover mostly June through August, but there's one exception because there's one book coming out at the end of May that I'm also excited about that I wanted to throw in here. Now, I'm sure there are hundreds of books that are releasing between June and August, and I couldn't possibly cover all of them. So I went through all the ones that I knew were releasing, and then I went through some lists of things from the publisher and just found ones that I was excited about. So I've narrowed these down to, I think, roughly 20 or 21, I think I might have said, books that are in the genres that I really enjoy reading that I'm excited about. So we've got a lot of young adult, but we definitely have some adult as well. And then it's like thriller, mystery, romance, fantasy romance, I think is the majority of them. There might be some sci-fi, but I don't remember. It's mostly fantasy, romance, and thriller or mystery. So the way we're gonna do this is I have it written down in my notes by month, and then it's released like in order. So the order of which they release. Duh. Basically, the sooner it comes out, the sooner I'm gonna talk about it in the video. So let's get started. I need like a thing to prop my notes. I need a teleprompter. Let's see if I can make it fit there. I think that'll work. Just know if I'm glancing down here, it's because I'm looking at my notes. Because there's no way I was going to remember the details for 21 books. I can barely even remember the details for one book without having to glance at notes. So, you know. The first book that we're going to talk about is the only one that doesn't come out between June and August. This one actually comes out May 30th, which is really soon by the time that this video comes out. So I'm very excited for this one. It is called, let me look. See, I told you, can't remember one thing. It is called The Night in Question by Kathleen Glasgow and Liz Lawson. Like I said, this comes out May 30th. It is a YA mystery, and it is book 2 in the Agatha's mystery series. I'm not sure how many there will be, but currently there will be 2. This one, I don't know if you need to read the first one in order to read this one. You might want to, just in case, but it seems like this book is a completely different mystery in the first one. In the first one, the main characters, Alice and Iris, solved the mystery of who killed Alice's best friend, Brooke. And in this one, it seems like they team up together to solve a new mystery. The next book that comes out is Lore Olympus Volume 4 by Rachel Smith. This is coming out on June 6th, and it is a bind-up of episodes 76 through 102 of the webtoon comic online. And this, if you haven't heard of Lore Olympus, it is a graphic novel retelling of Hades and Persephone, and is set in like, Olympus is like a big city in these. So the artwork is absolutely beautiful. I highly recommend you checking them out. The Barnes & Noble edition of Volume 4 looks absolutely beautiful, so I might have to pick that one up. The next book coming out also on June 6th is Tessa Bailey's Unfortunately Yours, and this is book 2 in a Vine Mess series and is the sequel to Fortunately Yours. The male love interest from Fortunately Yours, his sister, is the female main character in Unfortunately Yours. She is a Napa heiress who is down on her luck. She's lost her job and she needs funding for her next business venture. So she has the great idea to use her trust fund for that funding. But there's one catch. She can't get access to her trust fund until she gets married. So what does she do other than enter into a marriage of convenience with a wine? Did he take over? I forget what he is, and I dumbly didn't put it in my notes. But it's a marriage of convenience. He's also in the wine business, and I really enjoyed book 1. It's one of the few contemporary romances that I've read this year that I enjoyed, so I'm looking forward to this one coming out. The next book coming out on June 6th is Some Shall Break by Ellie Marney. And it is the sequel to None Shall Sleep, which both are YA psychological thrillers. I didn't look up the plot for book 2 because I haven't read book 1 and I don't want to be spoiled, but I did read the synopsis of book 1 and I am very interested in picking up both of these. In fact, I believe I put this on hold at my library when I was writing my notes because that's how badly I wanted to pick this up. So book 1, None Shall Sleep, is set in 1982 and it follows 2 teenagers who get roped into helping the FBI solve cold cases. And then one day they get called on an active case where they need to enlist the help of the infamous teenage sociopath Simon. So during the investigation, one of the main characters, Emma, gets close to Simon in order to help solve the case, and while it seems like Simon is providing information to help save lives, he also might have other motives involving Emma that aren't as helpful. I put book 1 on hold at my library as soon as I read this, because if you haven't read The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, that is kind of similar, and that was a really great series. And yes, she does write things other than what's it called? The Hawthorne Legacy? No, what is that one called? I don't remember. The one with the Hawthorne boys. Honestly, I think The Naturals might be a better, like a more well-rounded series, but I read it a long time ago, so we'll see. But if you liked The Naturals, then this sounds like it might be right up your alley. And the last book releasing on June 6th on my list is The Do's and Donuts of Love by Adiba Jagardar. This is a YA contemporary romance where the main character, Shireen, has become the contestant on the first ever Junior Irish Baking Show contest. So this is set on basically the set of the Great British Bake Off Junior Edition. And if she wins, not only will she receive prize money, but it'll get attention to her parents. It'll get some much needed attention to her parents' donut shop. The only problem is that Shireen's ex-girlfriend is also a contestant on the show, and she's becoming fast friends with the outgoing Neve. Shireen will have to navigate new and old relationships while she tries to focus on winning the competition, because there just might be somebody trying to sabotage her as well. Now, there are 2 settings that an author can write their book in that will make me automatically pick it up, and one is on the set of something like the Great British Bake Off, which ding, this one checks that off, and the second one, which we will find out shortly, is summer camp. Throw a book, movie, game, anything in one of those 2 settings, and I will absolutely be picking it up. All right, we are now into the middle of June. So on June 13th, the highly anticipated Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood is coming out. This is an adult contemporary romance, and it is the 3rd book in Ali's STEM romanists. I just blended romance and feminists. Because sometimes she calls these the STEMinist novels. But this is her 3rd book in the STEM romance novels, and I don't believe you need to read them in any order. I don't even know if there's really character crossover, and if there is, it's really small between, why am I blanking? Love on the Brain and The Love Hypothesis. So if you haven't read either of those, I think you should, because I really liked both of them, but I think it'd be fine to pick up this one as well. I'm just gonna read the description that I have on here that I wrote for myself, because I feel like there's too much for me to try and remember. This book follows theoretical physicist Elsie, who has a side hustle where she offers her services as a fake girlfriend, and everything is going great until she realized the older brother of her favorite client is the experimental physicist who ruined her mentor's career. Yikes. And now he rules over the physics department at MIT and is standing between Elsie and her dream job. Does this sound very similar? Okay. Does this sound very similar to all of Ali Hazelwood's other books? Absolutely. Am I still gonna pick it up anyway? Yeah, because I guarantee you that it still has all of the things that make Ali Hazelwood's romances so fun, including a brooding, misunderstood guy, a quirky girl, forced proximity, science terms that go way over my head, and lots of tension. The next book that comes out on June 13th is Kismet Connection by Ananda Devarajan, and this is the author's YA debut, and it is a YA contemporary romance. And speaking of Ali Hazelwood, this one is actually blurbed by Ali Hazelwood, so that definitely makes me want to pick it up. This book follows Madhuri, whose love life is doomed according to her astrology-obsessed mother, and in order to prove that not everything is up to the stars, Madhuri concocts a experimental relationship with her best friend Arun, because he's the one person that's sure not to fall in love with her. Except she's overlooking one thing, and that's that Arun has been in love with her the whole time. So as the relationship develops, Madhuri has to decide whether charting her own destiny is worth breaking her best friend's heart and possibly her own as well. The next book coming out on June 20th is The Only One Left by Riley Sager, and they are pitching this one as an adult gothic thriller. This is set in 1983 and is about a young caregiver who is assigned to take care of a woman who was accused of a Lizzie Borden-style massacre decades earlier. Lenora was accused of murdering her family when she was 17, but the police were never able to prove it, and she's never talked about it again after that night. Now, because of a series of strokes, her only means of communication is being able to type things out on a typewriter. One night, Lenora decides that she wants to get everything off her chest, and she explains to Kit that she wants to tell her everything. As more details come to light, Kit starts to wonder if Lenora is really telling the truth, and things start to happen where Kit wonders if this harmless old woman is really more dangerous than she originally thought. From the synopsis and having read other Riley Sager books, I would say that this one is probably told between multiple timelines of what happened with Lenora when she was 17 and then Kit and Lenora in today, 1982. The next one is one of the ones that I have talked about for a while, and I am very excited. It also comes out on June 20th, and it is You're Not Supposed to Die Tonight by Kaylin Bayron. Now, they're selling this as a YA slasher, which, as I've said before, I normally wouldn't pick up something like that, but I had so much fun with How to Survive Your Murder, and I love Kaylin Bayron's other series, This Poison Heart, I think is the name of the first one, that I'm willing to pick this up. Plus, it's set in summer camp, which, like I said, you could throw anything set in summer camp and I would pick it up. So this has all the makings of a really great book. I'm so excited for this one that this is going to be one of the books where the day it comes out, I'm going to go to the store like before they open to stand there and pick this up. What am I trying to say? A classic, okay. This book follows Charity, who has the perfect job at Camp Mirror Lake, where she plays the final girl, where her and the rest of the crew reenact scenes from a classic slasher film in a game for the guests, which they are calling a full contact horror game. I'm sorry, a full contact terror game is what they call it, which that sounds awful. I would never. I don't even like haunted houses. So on the last weekend of camp, some of Charity's co-workers start to go missing, and Charity's role as the final girl might not actually be just a role after all. So her and her girlfriend will have to stay alive throughout the night in order to find out who the murderer is and uncover some secrets that Camp Mirror Lake may be hiding. Yes, I do use Halloween mugs in May. And then the last book that I have in June for you is coming out June 27th, and this is called The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. They are selling this as a adult romance with magical realism in it, and this is the same author that wrote The Dead Romantics that came out last year, and that was one of my favorite romances of last year. Actually, I take that back. On the blurb, it didn't say they were pitching this as a romance, so I don't know if there's a happily ever after. I hope there is, but so I don't want to pitch it as a romance if they're not pitching it as a romance. They're calling it an adult magical realism novel. So this book follows Clementine, who after the worst day of her life has decided to safeguard her heart, but accidentally falls in love with her temporary roommate, who was somehow living 7 years in the past. This one sounds like it has similar vibes to The Dead Romantics, where the main female character works in the publishing or book industry and the main male character is somehow magically unavailable. I am interested to see if this one is as interesting as The Dead Romantics, and this one gives me One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston vibes. So the first book on the July list comes out on July 4th, and it is called Murder on a School Night by Kate Weston. They are pitching this as a YA murder mystery rom-com, and it follows amateur sleuth Carrie, who gets dragged to a party that she doesn't want to go to by her BFF and mystery fanatic Annie to investigate a cyberbully. At the party, they discover that one of their classmates has been murdered with a menstrual cup, and if that is not weird enough, a second body turns up dead with a sanitary pad across their eyes. So now with this string of murders, Annie and Carrie are officially on the case. This sounds absolutely hilarious to me. I want to know not only who commits period-themed murders, but who thinks of writing a book about period-themed murders. This seems absolutely hilarious, and I can't wait until this comes out. And to figure out why somebody's murdering somebody with menstrual products. Like, who does that? The next book also comes out on July 4th, and it is called Something Terrible Happened Last Night by Sam Blake. This book follows Katie, and we start off at her 17th birthday party where everything is going to plan. The dance floor is packed, the drinks are flowing, the school's confession site is flowing with gossip, but then all of a sudden a huge fight breaks out and everybody flees. So when Katie and her best friends go back to clean up the mess, they discover a dead body in the living room, and now they have to figure out what happened. I've never read anything by this author before, but it looks like they mostly write adult thrillers. The next book is To Have and to Heist by Sarah Deze, and that comes out on July 18th. This is also the same author of the Singles Table trilogy, and that was a young adult, or that was a adult contemporary romance. They're pitching this one as an adult rom-com. This book follows Simi, whose life is not going according to plan, and now on top of everything else, her best friend has been accused of stealing a multi-million-dollar necklace. Mysteriously, a charming man named Jack comes into their lives, and he says that he can help get the necklace back, but they just need to find a crew to pull off this heist. And like any good heist story, Simi now has to take this red tag crew of strangers to turn them into an elite heist crew to steal back the necklace from an elite high society wedding. But there is a cute detective that keeps showing up, and the bride of the wedding is keeping secrets, so the necklace might not be the only thing that is stolen that day. This sounds like a perfect combination of a romantic comedy and a cozy mystery, very similar to Jesse Hugh Sutanto's Dial A for Aunties, and I can't wait. The next book is I'm Not Here to Make Friends by Andrew Yang, and that comes out on July 18th. This book follows Sabine and Yuna, who are both picked for Hotel California, which is a reality TV show, a teen reality TV show with an all-Asian cast. Sabine is looking forward to stepping into the spotlight and to stop feeling like a side character, and Yuna is looking forward to getting away from her unearned mean girl reputation, make some friends, and just relax in the sun. However, the producers have something else in mind and pit these two girls against each other. With the season's finale on the horizon, the girls have to figure out a way to move forward peacefully and write their own narratives and not let the producers of the show write it for them. The next book on my list is Immortal Longings by Chloe Gong, and that comes out on July 18th. This author has also written the Secret Shanghai Universe and the Foul Lady Fortune series, and many others. And this book is an adult epic fantasy. I believe it's also the first in a series. Yes, it's the first in the new Flesh and False God series. This series was inspired by Shakespeare's Antony and Cleopatra and the historic Kowloon walled city. In this book, we follow former Princess Kala, who wants to take down the king, who's also her uncle, so she enters a deadly citywide competition that only happens once a year, and if you win it, you get to meet the king, and that is the only time of year that he shows his face in public. Kala is keeping secrets about a dark past, but if she wants to win, she's gonna have to team up and make alliances with her cousin and her fiercest competition, but only one of them is going to be able to make it out alive. The next book comes out on July 25th, and it is Their Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. This is a YA thriller with dark academia vibes and is being sold as Squid Games meets Ace of Spades with a sprinkling of The Bachelor thrown in. In this book, we follow Adina, who is on scholarship at the prestigious Edgewater Academy, where she works hard to make everything seem perfect no matter what's going on underneath the surface. After one moment of losing control, Adina is now blacklisted from multiple of her top choice Ivy League schools, and in order to get back into the good graces, she decides to compete in a competition run by the school's founding family. In this competition, 12 young women compete in 3 mysterious events in order to gain access to the power and wealth that comes along with this family. But when Adina arrives at the games, she realizes that something isn't right, and not only are these games high stakes, but they are literally life and death, and not everyone is playing by the rules. Now, with the deck stacked against her, the only way she can survive the games is to change the rules. This next one is one of the ones that I said I have been highly anticipating since last year, and that is The Legacies by Jessica Goodman, and that comes out on July 25th. This is going to be a YA thriller with old money, secret societies, rich people drama, and Gossip Girl vibes. This is another one I'm just gonna read because my brain's just not retaining information. The exclusive Legacy Club in New York gives you lifetime access to power and wealth. Club members always protect each other, but first you have to be invited, and once you're invited, you have to make it through a rigorous week of events and the extravagant Legacy Ball. Tori is a scholarship student from Queens, never expected to be selected for the club, and her and everyone else are wondering what she did to get an invite. The night of the ball is supposed to be the best night of their lives, but it is actually filled with gossips, secrets, and someone dying to keep them hidden. Jessica has also written The Counselors, They Wish They Were Us, and one more that I can't think of that I will put up right now. They'll Never Catch Us, I think is what it is, and I read all 3 of those last year, and I really enjoyed all 3 of those last year. So I'm highly anticipating this one. And now we are into August. The first book that comes out in August actually comes out on August 1st, and it is called What Never Happened by Rachel Housel Hall. First of all, the cover is absolutely gorgeous, and I'm not gonna lie, and it's absolutely what made me look at this book in the first place. We follow Coco, who was the sole survivor of a deadly home invasion, and she is now returning to her Catalina Island home. All she wants to do is visit with her aunt, get away from her ex, and get back to her writing. Thankfully, Maddie, her best friend from college, owns the local paper and is able to give her a job. Coco is kept busy at the paper. How many times can I say at the paper? Coco is kept busy reporting on all the stories of all of these elder people dying, but the more she learns about these deaths, the more that she realizes that there is something connecting them and they're not natural. One day she receives a creepy letter in the mail that is her own obituary, and now her past has come back to haunt her, and whoever is out there is determined to put her to rest once and for all. The next book is called I'm Not Done With You Yet by Jessie Q. Sutanto, and that comes out on August 22nd. In this book we follow Jane, who is unhappy. She is unhappy in her marriage, she's unhappy living in the Bay Area, and she's unhappy with her writing career that is barely able to pay her mortgage. The last time she can remember being happy was back in college when she was living with her best friend Talia, until one night some mysterious events happened and Talia disappeared. One morning Jane sees Talia's name at the top of the New York bestseller list and on a social media post for a book convention saying that she'll be there. Now Jane will make it to New York one way or another, and this time she won't risk losing Talia again. I have interesting theories on the fact that Jane is going to be an unreliable narrator and about what may have happened that mysterious night. So I'm very curious to see how this one plays out, and I'm excited to pick it up when it comes out. This next book on the list I have been anticipating since it was announced, and that is The Brothers Hawthorne by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, and this comes out on August 29th. This is a YA thriller / mystery and is book 4 in the Inheritance Games series. I don't want to give away the synopsis because it will spoil anything for the Inheritance Games series, but just know that this one follows mostly Grayson and Jameson after the events of the final gambit. I'm sure, like the rest of the series, it will include riddles, high stakes, Hawthorne Brothers shenanigans, and possibly a slow burn romance. And the last and final book I have on my list is Rain by Catherine McGee, and this also comes out on August 29th. This is a YA romance / alternate history, and it is book 4 in the American Royal series, and I believe it is the final book as well. I have been anticipating the release of this book since I finished book 3 because book 3 ends on such a massive cliffhanger, and I've been waiting months for this one to come out. And there's still like 3 months left to wait. If you haven't read or heard of the American Royal series, it follows the American royal family if George Washington had become king instead of president. It follows the 3 children of the royal family: Beatrice, the heir to the throne; Samantha, who refers to herself as the Spare; and then Samantha's twin brother, Jefferson. Throughout the series, we also follow Samantha's best friend, Nina, and Jefferson's on-again, off-again girlfriend, Daphne. Like I said, I believe Rain is the final book in the series, and I'm excited to see how it concludes, but I am sad that it'll be over because I have enjoyed this series a lot. So that is it. That is all 20, I don't even remember at this point, books that are coming out between June and August that I am highly anticipating and very excited about. If I left any books off of the list that you know of that are coming out and are excited about, please let me know about them in the comments down below. And if you've made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. I truly do appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!